Hello, and welcome to today's reading of Entre Nous. I'm using this book as a vehicle to teach some of the elegant life principles from a spiritual teacher and life coach perspective, and adding in my personal experiences of living in France. We're going to have some giggles today, ladies, because this topic today is all about the French girl's relationship with le corps, the body. So wait for my stories at the end. Hilarious. All right, here we go. The first time I went to the Riviera, my French friend Francine did what all the natives did with simple abandon. She whipped off her bikini top, what else did I expect her to do, and stretched out on the bright rocky beach with her breasts saluting the sun. I, on the other hand, didn't even own a bikini at the time, just a practical one piece. And while my topless friend lounged oblivious to the gawking stares of Anglo-Saxon tourists, I wondered, with both envy and admiration, how does she let herself go with such natural ease? Well, we'd all be as free as the French girl if we looked like her, right? The stereotypical French girl is often insolently thin, casually chic, and fashionable despite a simple wardrobe. Without or with makeup, she's always put together and utterly confident, imbued with a natural elegance and an elusive distance that's particularly and maddeningly French. But this stereotype obscures delicious paradoxes about the French girl and her body. Yeah, she does have an exasperating tendency to be thin. Reams have been written trying to decode the mystery of a people who smoke, drink, eat goose fat, and still look fabulous. Hint, it's not about diets. And yes, there is pressure to be thin in France. But in reality, the French girl comes in a multitude of styles and body shapes, and whatever her figure, she looks remarkable and just plain sexy. The French girl understands that sexy is a state of mind. Her relationship to food and her body is sensual, not tyrannical, and she takes pleasure in both. And this may explain why the French are often occupied with food and sex, and Anglo-Saxons with work and money. A certain universal truth prevails for her, which my luscious, curvaceous friend Nadine explains this way. Men love flesh. They're hardwired for it. And French women know this, and they're knockouts, even with a little bit of extra belly or butt. We're not out there exercising like crazy. We're enjoying life as it is. Now, unlike her American cousins, rather than camouflage herself in a hip-hiding tunic, the French girl flaunts what she's got. Curves, belly, and all. And if she's uncomfortable with her body, chances are high she won't go on a draconian diet and broadcast her calorie counting and weight loss for all the world to hear. She'll quietly modify the way she eats, and work on her body without fanfare. And while there is pressure to stay trim in her world, it's her business and not an enlightened topic of conversation, which is why you're more likely to hear French girlfriends discussing the philosophical underpinnings of a latest art house film rather than the respective merits of Atkins or Vizone. Now, I'm just going to read just this little section about the body because it goes hand in hand. I've had two experiences. I'll talk about the food, one thing, and this, I'll give you my funny story that I have regarding this exact thing. Listen to this. There is in France a kind of collective cultural shrug about nakedness. Take my first French gynecological exam. My gynecological's office, office was in a lavish 18th century manor house in the heart of the Marais, which is such a particular charm of living in France. A trim woman, the doctor sat me down, and after a few minutes of discussion asked me to disrobe and lie down on the table. The table? I asked. Oui, she replied, pointing to an examining table that I hadn't noticed at the far end of her office, la table. La table looked awfully barren to me, Where was the separate changing room? Where was the little hook for my clothes? Where was the little paper gown to cover my body? Where was the little paper gown to cover my body? Where were the dog-eared dated issues of Good Housekeeping and Self magazine that I could read to keep my mind off the fact that I would soon be naked and mercilessly exposed to the imminent pokings and probings of Le Docteur? You mean just get naked right here, right now in this room, I asked. Yes, madame, she replied. Is there a problem? Oh, well, I felt like saying, where do I start? It is all this basic business of the body, gloriously free from self-consciousness, delightfully accepting of nature's unruly ways, and unapologetically matter-of-fact, that actually primes the French girl to be more relaxed about her body from the get-go. Ditto for a cultural predilection for sensuality in all of its forms, and for the strong sense that she owns her body, whatever shape. And I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, let's talk about food. Oh my goodness. If any of you, again, have picked up, or not picked up, but purchased my Elegant Guide to Your Best Body, I go through many of the perspectives and mindset shifts that I gained from living in France. Now, I also add a very spiritual aspect to a lot of things in there, so that your relationship with food and your body becomes extremely different than what we have grown up with. That's so key. And one of the things is what this book said. Look, when I was there, oh yes, the women were predisposed to wanting to be thin. The thing is that they would not talk about it and they wouldn't go on diets. But what I noticed with that was that they would just quietly have instead a big bowl of tea for breakfast. And that's how the French drink their tea in the morning anyway, but it's like a cereal bowl. I should have brought mine. I have an example here. It is like this. It is sometimes with milk, sometimes not, probably cream more than milk, but it is tea. And they have a massive bowl of that in the morning, and that is all. Then at lunch, they'll have a beautiful salad, you know, with goat cheese and whatever else. Maybe a small little dinner roll. And then at lunch or at dinner, they'll have a proper dinner. That's it. That's it. However, on the weekend, you would see everybody gloriously going out there, eating 7-course meals. Yes, eating high-fat things, ending off with cheese, then having a beautiful dessert. I mean, they would eat. Sometimes we would start eating only at 10 o'clock and end eating at 4 a.m. in the morning. I am not joking. So they have this beautiful relationship with their body. They have a knowingness of how they want to look and feel. And so they quietly say, what do I need to do during the week so that I don't have to have any kind of sacrifice or self-deprivation? Now, some of you might say, well, they are depriving themselves during the week. They don't see it like that. And in the spiritual world, you give meaning to things. If you think that lowering, being very conscious about what you put into your mouth during the week is deprivation, then that's what it will mean. If you just think, I'm doing this out of self-love so that I can fully enjoy the sensuality of having a gorgeous dinner with my lover or my family or my friends on the weekend, there is no deprivation or sacrifice there. So you see how you give meaning to it. So I ask you, what do you desire for your body to look and feel like? And what kind of, here's kind of off of yesterday's, what kind of standards are you going to set for yourself to make that become a reality? Do you love food? Oh my God. They used to call me, do you know what my nickname in France was? Gourmand. Erin, tu es vraiment gourmand. You are truly, a gourmand is someone who just like adores food. I would, oh mon Dieu. Oh. That was me in France, okay? I want you to come up with your own version. Be the inner French girl and you make the choice. And it is the meaning that you give to it. What body do you want to have? How do you feel you want to look? And then what things do you require to do? Do you choose to do to get that? Okay? That's one thing. And if you want to pick up the Elegant Guide to Your Best Body, just go to theelegantlife.com/shop and you can pick that up, okay? All right, the second thing, here's my funny story. Okay, so any of you who have watched the other series that I did called The Making of a Spiritual Woman, a pilgrimage that began in Paris, you know that Guy was someone that first started out to be a friend of mine. Now, he eventually turned out to be a lover, but at this time, he was just a friend, like a very good, close friend. Anyway, I was complaining to him about my back issues, and I normally in Canada would go to a chiropractor, and he said, no. You need an osteopath. So I didn't know what an osteopath was, but he said, I will take you, don't worry. So I was so excited. So he took me, and at that point, my French was okay, but I didn't know some of the words and the terminology, kind of this medical stuff. So he said, you want me to come in with you? And I said, sure. In Canada, with a chiropractor, you don't even have to get undressed. You just go there with your regular clothes. So of course I'm gonna feel comfortable with Guy coming in. Oh my God. Here, I'm in an office very much like her, and the osteopath is making me do all kinds of things, and he goes, D'accord. Basically, his language was very straightforward. Okay, drop your clothes. I thought I didn't understand what he said. So I looked to my friend Guy, and he kind of explained in French to me, you know, oh, that means just take off your clothes. I said, to everything? And he started to laugh because he could see my face. I was in a state of panic. And I wasn't secure enough within myself to maybe put some guidelines like, Guy, maybe it's best that you go outside. I didn't have anything, any confidence, I didn't want to make him feel uncomfortable. So I kind of went along, and he said, no, you can keep your underwear. So I said, oh, okay. So here I am with Guy, my friend at that time, and the osteopath. They're just all watching me get undressed. And I'm like, pretending I'm comfortable. Inside, I am sweating. I cannot believe what is going on here. Seriously, it was hilarious. So I am moving around. He's like moving my legs and my back, and the only thing I have on is my underwear. Now, it ended up being a fantastic session, and he put me all in alignment, and I loved it. But I drove home, and I realized, wow, they are so normal and comfortable about the human body that they didn't feel uncomfortable. This was not abnormal. And what happened in that was it gave me a sense of freedom. No one is going to be staring at me. No one is going to be gawking at me. No one is going to be trying to come for me. My body is a natural, beautiful thing that was given to me from the divine, and he just needs to see how it is all lining up without the coverage of clothes. So that freedom, that day, that was at the beginning of my time there. I'm telling you, I just opened up, and at the end, I was wearing little tank tops without a bra. Yes, my nipples were showing through. I got such a sense of freedom, I'll tell you, ladies. So, what can you do for this? Start viewing your body as something that was given to you from the divine. It is natural, normal, beautiful, and look, if it's a little curvier in places that you don't want it to be curvy, okay, you're gonna make conscious choices about that, doing my thing right now that I talked about earlier, but don't hide it anymore. Go into your closet and find something that's a little more form-fitting. Maybe your belly shows a little bit. Who the hell cares? Celebrate it and make conscious choices at the same time. There is a freedom, and that freedom is the je ne sais quoi that French women have, I assure you. So on that note, I'm going to take a little bit of a break over the weekend and not film anything. I will be back on Monday with the very next installment of this series. Follow me along. Love you so much, and we'll see you then.